What's up, legends? Welcome back to the channel where we master English by diving into the lives of the world's most incredible people. Before we even start, I need you to do two things for me right now. First, smash that like button until it turns blue. Do it. Second, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on our epic content. Are we clear? Good. Because today we're talking about a man who was more than just a man. He was a phenomenon. A genius whose mind soared so high it touched the face of the future. We are talking about the ultimate Renaissance man, Leonardo da Vinci. Get ready, because your English and your mind are about to get a serious upgrade. Let's travel back in time to the heart of the Italian Renaissance. The year is 1452, April 15th to be exact. In a small Tuscan town called Vinci, a boy is born. His full name: Leonardo di Ser Piero da Vinci. This translates to Leonardo, son of Mr. Piero from Vinci. He was born out of wedlock to a wealthy legal professional, Ser Piero, and a peasant woman named Caterina. In that era, this illegitimate status meant he couldn't follow his father into the legal profession. But this twist of fate might have been the greatest gift the world ever received. It freed Leonardo to follow his own path, a path guided by an insatiable curiosity that would change history forever. Growing up in his father's home, young Leonardo didn't receive a formal education in Greek and Latin like the sons of other gentlemen. Instead, his classroom was the world around him. He spent his days wandering the Tuscan countryside, observing the flight of birds, the flow of water, the structure of rocks, and the anatomy of plants and animals. He was a self-taught student of nature, and his notebooks from this early period were already filling with sketches and observations. He was learning to see the world not just as it was, but how it worked. His father quickly noticed his son's extraordinary artistic talent. The story goes that a local peasant asked Ser Piero to have a shield painted. Ser Piero gave the task to Leonardo. Ser Piero sold that shield to a merchant in Florence and bought a simpler one for the peasant. He knew then that his son's talent was something special. So, around the age of 14, Leonardo was sent to Florence, the artistic and cultural hub of Italy. He became an apprentice in the workshop of Andrea del Verrocchio, one of the most renowned artists of the day. This wasn't just a painting studio. It was a creative powerhouse. Here, Leonardo learned not only painting, sculpting, and drawing, but also mechanics, carpentry, metallurgy, and chemistry. He was like a sponge, soaking up every skill he could. Verrocchio's workshop was known for its collaborative projects, and it was here that Leonardo's genius began to truly shine. A famous story tells of their work on the painting The Baptism of Christ. Verrocchio painted the main scene, but he assigned the young Leonardo to paint one of the angels. When the Verrocchio saw the angel Leonardo had painted, it was so beautiful, so lifelike and ethereal, that the master supposedly declared he would never paint again because his pupil had surpassed him. By 1472, at the age of 20, Leonardo qualified as a master in the Guild of St. Luke, the official guild for artists and doctors of medicine. He had his own workshop, but he continued to collaborate with Verrocchio for several more years. This first period in Florence was a time of immense growth. Leonardo was developing his signature techniques, like sfumato, a method of blurring lines and creating a soft, hazy effect, which you can see in the Mona Lisa's smile. He was obsessed with capturing human emotion and psychology in his art. He wasn't just painting figures, he was painting souls. He would follow people with interesting faces through the streets of Florence, memorizing their features to draw later. His paintings from this time, like the Annunciation, show his incredible skill with light, shadow, and perspective. However, Leonardo was already earning a reputation for being an infamous perfectionist and procrastinator. He would accept commissions for paintings and then spend years working on them, sometimes leaving them unfinished as his restless mind moved on to the next great idea or scientific investigation. This was a pattern that would follow him throughout his life. Around 1482, when he was 30, Leonardo left Florence for Milan. He wrote a remarkable letter to the ruler of Milan, Ludovico Sforza, essentially a job application. But here's the crazy part. In this 10-paragraphs letter, he spent 9 paragraphs detailing his incredible skills as a military engineer. He described his designs for portable bridges, cannons, armored vehicles, and even submarines. Only in the very last paragraph did he casually mention, "Oh, by the way, I can also paint." Ludovico was impressed and hired him. For nearly 2 decades, Leonardo served the Sforza court. This was one of the most productive periods of his life. He was not just the court painter, but also an architect, engineer, and designer of elaborate festivals. It was in Milan that he painted 2 of his most famous masterpieces. The first was the Virgin of the Rocks. This painting showcases his scientific mind. The botanical accuracy of the plants and the geological formations in the background are stunning. The second, of course, was the Last Supper. This wasn't a traditional fresco painted on wet plaster. Ever the experimenter, Leonardo used a new technique, painting with tempera on a dry stone wall in the dining hall of a monastery. He wanted to capture the moment just after Jesus says, "One of you will betray me." Leonardo didn't just paint 13 men at a table. He painted a storm of human emotion. He captured the shock, anger, and despair of the apostles with incredible psychological depth. Each apostle's reaction is unique, telling a story. Unfortunately, his experimental technique was a disaster. The paint began to flake and deteriorate almost immediately, even within Leonardo's own lifetime. For centuries, the masterpiece was in ruins, and only through modern restoration can we glimpse its original glory. While in Milan, Leonardo's scientific pursuits exploded. His notebooks from this period are legendary. They are filled with thousands of pages of drawings and notes on everything imaginable. He dissected human and animal bodies to understand anatomy, drawing the first accurate depictions of the human spine and a fetus in the womb. He studied fossils, concluding that the Earth was much older than the Bible suggested. He designed flying machines, studying the flight of birds to create ornithopters. He designed a tank, a self-propelled cart, which was a forerunner to the automobile, and even a diving suit. His mind was a universe of ideas, centuries ahead of his time. It's important to remember, he wrote all his notes in a special mirror script, writing from right to left. Was it to keep his ideas secret, or was it simply because it was easier for him, as a left-handed man, to write this way? Like so much about Leonardo, it remains a mystery. In 1499, the French invaded Milan, and Ludovico Sforza was overthrown. Leonardo, now almost 50, fled the city. This began a period of wandering. He briefly returned to Florence, where he entered a rivalry with another great artist, Michelangelo. The two titans were commissioned to paint huge battle scenes on opposite walls of the Palazzo Vecchio. It would have been the ultimate artistic showdown. Sadly, neither work was ever completed. During this time, Leonardo painted what is arguably the most famous painting in the world, the Mona Lisa. The subject is thought to be Lisa Gherardian, the wife of a Florentine merchant. But what makes it so special? It's the enigmatic smile, the lifelike quality, and that revolutionary sfumato technique that makes her seem to breathe. Leonardo loved this painting so much that he carried it with him for the rest of his life. It was never delivered to the person who commissioned it. It was his personal obsession. After another short stint in Milan, Leonardo's life took its final turn. In 1516, the King of France, Francis I, a great admirer of Italian art, invited Leonardo to France. The king gave him a beautiful manor house, the Château du Clos-Luz, and a handsome pension. He didn't ask Leonardo to paint anything specific. He simply wanted the honor of having the great master at his court to listen to him talk. The king treated him like a father and was fascinated by his intellect. For the last 3 years of his life, Leonardo lived in peace, organizing his vast collection of notebooks and tutoring his favorite apprentice. It was here, in France, on May 2nd, 1519, at the age of 67, that Leonardo da Vinci died. Legend says he died in the arms of King Francis I, a fitting end for a man who was revered as a divine genius in his own lifetime. So what is the legacy of Leonardo da Vinci? It's almost immeasurable. He was the ultimate Renaissance man, a term that describes someone with expertise in many different fields. But Leonardo was more than that. He was a universal man. His art changed painting forever, introducing a new level of psychological depth and realism. His scientific notebooks predicted inventions that wouldn't exist for hundreds of years. But perhaps his greatest legacy is his mindset. Leonardo taught us the importance of curiosity. He believed that everything was connected. He saw art and science not as two separate disciplines, but as two sides of the same coin, both ways of exploring the beauty and mystery of the universe. He never stopped asking why and how. His entire life was a relentless quest for knowledge. Today, we see his influence everywhere. Artists still study his techniques. Scientists marvel at the accuracy of his anatomical drawings. Engineers are inspired by his visionary inventions. He reminds us that the human mind has no limits. He proves that with passion, observation, and an unending desire to learn, you can achieve the impossible. His life encourages us to look at the world with a sense of wonder, to see the connections between things, and to never, ever stop learning. Leonardo da Vinci wasn't just a man who painted the Mona Lisa. He was a man who tried to understand the entire universe and, in doing so, expanded our own. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the mind of a true master. If you found this video helpful and inspiring, and I know you did, give it a massive thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe and hit that bell so you can continue to improve your English with us. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning.